Well, this is going to be an interesting one. We have got two green sounding pedals. That's the Nobels ODR-1, and it is the right hand side of the fantastic brown protein pedal, which is supposed to be like the Nobels ODR-1. Now, this video was requested by a viewer, and I was more than happy to put this together, re-explore this sound, show you if they're very similar, quite different. Is the protein able to capture what the Nobels ODR-1 does, being that that's the origin pedal of this Nashville sort of sound? I guess the question is, if you already have a protein, do you need to buy a Nobels ODR-1? If you have a Nobels ODR-1 and you don't need a blues breaker, do you need a protein pedal? Or if you've already got a good blues breaker that you like, do you need to buy the protein if you already have the Nobels? So we can answer those questions today. I'm going to go through some tones from the pedal. I'm also going to do a little blind comparison so you can just hear whether it's really a difference. But first of all, I do want to thank you all very much. I've reached 2,500 subscribers. Might seem very small to some people. To me, that's been a massive learning curve over the last year. Learning the guitar, learning YouTube, camera stuff, all of those things, and really enjoying myself. So I'm more than happy to say we will now be giving away the BB preamp. Now that video will come out next week. So however many subscribers get added on over the next 5 to 6 days until I film that, will also go in to win this. So you just need to subscribe publicly. You can check that out in your YouTube settings, and you need to comment on a video. I then go through all the comments since this was announced, because I say you have to comment on a video after the announcement, and I write down every name of everyone who's subscribed publicly. I check that across with the subscription list that I get, and those names go into a hat. I pull them out and I send it anywhere in the world. So that's really cool. Here's a sneak peek of the 3,500 sub giveaway, but more details to come soon. Okay, I bet you can't guess what that pedal is, but I'll let you know soon enough. And if you want to be in a chance to win that one, and I've got to say it's by far the most special sort of pedal that I've thought about giving away, then definitely subscribe to the channel. Right, let's get on with this. I'm going to start showing you from the lowest gain through to the highest gain, the difference between the two pedals, and then at the end we'll do the blind comparison and have a little chat about what I thought. Today I'm going to be using the Friedman Dirty Shirley. I'll show you the amp tone. I'm yet to do a video about that amp since I had it modded, so I've got it in its original settings, but I've now added a gain structure switch and a bright switch, which I'm not using today. And I'm going to use a Strat because I think it's the most transparent way of showing what this pedal does. But I'm also going to kick in at some point a humbucker just for a minute or two, just so you can hear what that's like, and maybe a Telecaster as well. I think those, this pedal can do it all, so it's worth showing you. Okay, so that was the amp tone. You can hear it was really clean, nothing much going on there. I think later in the video, I'll probably have to increase the gain. We'll see how these pedals cope with a completely clean amp. Okay, so now I'm going to keep the level and the tone, it's called spectrum on the ODR-1, but basically the tone in the middle. And I'm going to increase the drive gradually from the lowest position to the highest. And I do that because I think it's a really good way to hear what the drive control is doing, the harmonics that it's giving you. Because if you keep increasing the level and the drive at the same time, you're going to push the amp more and more and more, so the amp is going to become more of a factor. Whereas this way, we're really hearing a lot of what the pedal itself is doing to produce a sort of tube-driven warm sound. So let's hear what that sounds like. Okay, so as the drive went higher and higher, just in that last bit when the drive was on maximum, the whole thing just sounded a little bit waspy, you know, fizzy. Didn't sound like the amp was being pushed enough, you know, like I'd need more drive in the amp itself or more volume from the pedal. So I'm going to try and fix that here, but I'm not sure without increasing the gain of the amp that that's going to work. But let's see what happens. Well, as far as the comparison goes, it's quite interesting because they really do sound pretty similar, especially at that higher end of the drive setting when I don't actually think it sounds fantastic. Somewhere lower down in the drive setting, there was a lot more warmth and sort of tube sounding warmth, you know, and a bit of fuzziness, which I really enjoyed. I think if the whole setup was louder, the amp had a bit more gain, it might help the pedals a bit in that situation. But I found this before with the Nobles. There's a range where the drive to me sounds really pleasing. At the higher end, it doesn't sound as good. But let's increase the amp's gain now. I'll show you the amp tone again at that point, and then we'll hear what the pedals sound like. So I think that did help a bit, having the amp, you know, more on the edge of breakup than completely clean. I mean, that works that way with a lot of overdrive pedals, so it's not just about the Nobles. But yeah, I think that's an interesting difference. I'm going to keep the amp at that point unless I tell you otherwise. Okay, now I'm going to do this little blind test. I'm going to do 3 different settings on both pedals, so you'll just see test 1, pedal A, pedal B, test 2, pedal A, pedal B, etc. And then right at the end of the video, I'll put the answers, but let me know what you thought each one was in the comments, if you can even tell a difference. I think it would be really cool now to play with a humbucker, so I'll get a humbucker guitar. I won't do the whole same test again. I'll pick out a couple of sounds that I think work really well with each pedal, and then we're going to get a Telecaster, and what I want to do at the end of the test is use the blue side of the Protein with the green side of the Protein, and then also with the Nobels ODR-1, and you'll get a feeling for how a blues breaker affects both of those pedals. Both these pedals do a great job at this sort of low to medium drive level, and then using the level like a boost. I think it sounds fantastic. It brings out really lovely harmonics from your guitar and your amp combination. So I often use the pedals like this that way. But let's turn the drive up a bit and see what happens. I do find with the ODR-1 that as you turn the drive up, the compression means the level sounds like it's getting lower and lower, which could actually be quite useful. It just depends on your situation. Let's see what it sounds like. So I noticed after doing that the Nobles had a slightly higher drive than the Protein did, and so it didn't sound as lively in comparison. So I just want to retweak the pedal and show you, compared to the same settings on the Protein, how I can get the Nobles to sound. So you can hear by doing that they're really quite similar. I'd say they're like 95% the same. The Protein has a bit more transparency, I find, at all points. It's a little bit more lively. The Nobles can get a little bit more wallowy, a little furry around the edges, a bit sort of more darkness in it. Now this hasn't been a full test of everything, you know, every turn of the knob, but I think you get the idea here. Let's go on to listen to a Telecaster, and in this one we're going to use the pedals as we have been, and then we're going to use both of them separately with the blue side of the Protein, and then we're also going to use them Nobles or green side of the Protein with the blue side of the Protein and with the Hudson Broadcast AP, just so you can hear how they interact with other pedals. I think I heard there that the blue side of the protein really does add something to the whole mix. I mean, that blue side of the protein is one of the best pedals I've ever played. It just always makes everything sound great, and so it adds to those other green sounds, and I just think it sounds really good. It'd be difficult to tell the difference between the two, so if you have another blues breaker that you like, there's a good chance that it will work well with the ODR-1. And then adding the Hudson AP, it just sounded great, really rocky sort of sound. Love that. That's a combination I think I'm going to use a bit more often with the protein and the AP. Just quickly, I want to play a couple of open chords on each one. This is something I'm going to do more in future. I've had a few people ask me in the comments just for some simple sort of open chord tones. I didn't really set the pedals up specifically for this, so excuse me if it's not a great demo, but I'll just be putting this in most of my videos going forward, just like 10 seconds on each thing. So I'll come back for my final thoughts, and then after that you'll see the result of the blind test. Okay, so the long and short of it is these pedals are incredibly similar. I'd say the green side of the protein is a tiny bit more lively, a tiny bit more refined. It doesn't interact in the same way the Nobels does with its drive control. It doesn't get quite as compressed. It doesn't lose as much level. It doesn't get quite as furry or as sort of muddled in its sort of mids and lower mids. But here's the thing. It costs £320 for the Protein, and it costs about £99 for the Nobels. So, £99 is not super cheap. So if you're, reasonably budget conscious, then the Nobels is going to be fantastic for you. There are many great tones within that box. It can do great as a clean boost or slight, pretty clean boost, all the way up to a pretty heavy distorted sound. So if you're looking for this sort of sound, then the Nobels will be fantastic. For the 3 times the money you pay for the Protein, you get the blue side, which is the best pedal possibly that I've ever played. Certainly for sort of transparent, just push your amp, sound fantastic sounds. I love that blue side. And then they say when you put the two together, you get, another third sound, hence, I guess, triple the price. And everything just feels amazing with the Protein. It's one of the best pedals I've ever played. So my conclusion would be, if the budget is an issue, then the green or the Nobels ODR-1 is a fantastic choice. But if you're looking for the best of the best, then that few percent of better tone, if you want to call it that, in my eyes is worth it when you consider you're getting 2 different overdrives in there and you're getting the combination of the two. Obviously, until you play it, you can't always tell the difference. They feel reasonably similar. I'd say the Nobels punches so far above its weight money-wise, they could probably sell this pedal for 150 quid if they wanted to. Don't. I think keep it at that price. But yeah, that's what I think. Very, very similar. You get a tiny bit extra with the Protein and you get the other side of the Protein pedal. So that's your choice. Anyway, here are the blind test results. See if you could have told the difference, and that might help you answer the question between the two pedals. And if you like this sort of content, please think about subscribing to the channel. Next week, I'm going to tell you what the next giveaway pedal is. I think it's a really exciting one. Definitely the biggest pedal I've given away. So I'm really excited to tell you all about that. And if you've enjoyed this video and got this far, please give it a thumbs up. Cheers.